Good evening. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees. We want to note that this meeting is being broadcast on the NUSD YouTube channel at the direction of the board. The broadcast may capture images and sounds from those attending the meeting. If you would like to make a public comment on any item on agenda or not on agenda, please see staff at the side table for a comment card. We will be opening and closing this meeting tonight in the memory of Mark Milberg. He was appointed to the Novato City Council in 2021 and was a valuable member of our community. He participated in Read Across America each year, served on the Novato Citizens Finance Oversight Committee, and was a voice of wisdom, integrity, and authenticity in everything he did. We are proud to honor him in this small way and look forward to other opportunities to honor Mark. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. The board met in closed session. This will be reported out by Trustee Lametta.
Good evening. The board met in closed session on the following items: public employee discipline dismissal release, gave direction. Conference with labor negotiators Joshua Braff, Chief Financial Officer, and Francesca Whitcomb, Executive Director, Human Resources, and Employees Organization, Novato Federation of Teachers, NFT, information only. Conference with labor negotiators Joshua Braff, Chief Financial Officer, and Francesca Whitcomb, Executive Director, Human Resources, and Employees Organization, California School Employee Association, CSEA, information only.
Okay, I'd like to now ask for approval of this evening's agenda. Trustee Alexander, thank you, with a first. Do we have a second to approve tonight's agenda? Trustee Pickus, thank you. All in favor? 7 trustees plus 3 students, thank you. Next will be the consent agenda. Are there any items anyone would like to pull or a motion to approve as is?
Move to approve.
Okay, Trustee Pickus is moving to approve as is. Do we have a second? Trustee Butler, thank you. Sorry, my notes are wrong. All those in favor? 7 plus 3 student trustees. Thank you so much. We will now go to announcements, and we will start with our student trustees.
Hi everyone, hope you have all been well since last we've met. So San Marin has been up to a few things. Last Friday we had our Hispanic Heritage Fair. Students from across grade levels came together to represent different Spanish-speaking countries. This year we had 7 countries represented: El Salvador, Mexico, Peru, Brazil, Costa Rica, Paraguay, and Guatemala. Each booth had a team of students, flags, information about the country, snacks, desserts, and some students even brought items from home. In September, we kick off the month with a potluck of about 30 students. We are finding that that students are excited and interested about sharing the culture and countries that they call home. About 150 people attended the fair. Next Monday night, we have our Powder Puff game fundraiser. Girls usually play flag football, and the guys do the halftime show. 10% of our proceeds get donated to charity for breast cancer awareness. Funds raised from t-shirt sales, game tickets, and a merch table at the game. We'd love to see you all there. ASB will be selling boograms from October 20th to October 24th, and they will be delivered on 10/30. The goal is to be raised $400. This year, Halloween candy was 100% donated from families. Halloween celebrations at San Marin. At break, we have the All Saints preschoolers come by to show off their costumes. It's really fun for the students at San Marin to see the little kids, and the little kids love walking around our campus and saying hi to older siblings or just other people that they know. We also will hold our Halloween costume contest at lunch. It really brings our community together, and the teachers have costumes. which is really fun to see what they do every year. It's usually the science and math departments, which they always pull off amazing costumes. Other things at San Marin, we continue to expand spaces for student voice and belonging. We have our Black Student Union with its second year now. They choose to remain an affiliated space with only open to Black students to provide safe, judgment-free place to share experiences and build community. BSU partnerships with Anti-Racist Student Union, which serves as an allied group to help lead campus-wide equality efforts. This year, San Marin also launched the Q Group in partnership with the Youth Leadership Institute. Q Group increases queer visibility, creates connection among LGBTQ students, and promotes education and awareness around queer identity and culture. Both BSU and Q Groups represent San Marin's ongoing commitment to ensuring every student feels seen, supported, and valued at our campus. For athletics, cross country hosts their one and only MCAL meet today at O'Hare Park. We're very excited for them. Hopefully it stays dry enough for them. Senior nights for fall sports starting this week. Girls tennis was last week. Girls volleyball and senior girls golf are tomorrow night. Boys and girls water polo next Tuesday. Flag football next Wednesday. And football and cheer next Friday. With many fall seasons wrapping up, we look ahead to fall MCALs and NCS playoffs for many of our teams. We anticipate many teams clinching playoffs, and we are excited and hopeful to see our Mustangs do some more playoff games. For winter sports, November 3rd is the first day of winter sports. Physical concussion tests must be done along with the homecampus.com registration in order to try or participate in any of our sports.
Good evening, everyone. For Novato High, we have been really doing a lot of the same stuff as San Marin. We're prepping for our annual costume contest. We're also going to be selling boograms, I believe actually the same dates. And then we're getting super excited for our HOCO this week. We have our parade on Friday, which thank you, Dr. Smith, and any of the other trustees who are coming to support us. And then we have the royalty crowning and the dance on Saturday. The crowning is going to be at the varsity game at 2, so roughly 2:30, 2:45-ish. You never know with football. But we have, for MSA, the big band dance coming up, which is super fun. If anybody is able to attend, I strongly recommend it. It is my favorite event of the year, and that is on October 30th, the day before Halloween. We have theater's production of Little Shop of Horrors opening next month, so as soon as tickets open, I would recommend buying some. It's a super fun show. We've been working really hard on it. And then MCP, Medical Careers Pathways, had an ice cream social recently, and that was super fun. They did super well. And I believe that's it from Novato High. Thank you all.
Hello everyone. At Marin Oaks, our culinary class celebrated Hispanic Heritage Month last Thursday by preparing a taco meal for all students and staff at Hill Education Center. The food was delicious, and it was a great way for everyone to come together and appreciate the culture. Last week, students in the Bridge program took part in interviews for their upcoming internships, which begin in early November. Local business owners came to campus to meet with students in the class, and students dressed professionally to make a strong impression. The student internships will take place in a variety of businesses, including auto shops, a ranch, a local dentist office, and more. In government class, students are currently participating in a mock trial where they take on the roles of attorneys and present their cases in front of a student jury. It's a fun and engaging way to learn about the legal system and public speaking. Representatives from the College of Marin visited our school to help seniors learn about the college registration process and how to complete the FAFSA for the financial aid. Quarter 1 ends this Friday, and we have finals on Thursday and Friday of this week. New students will start this coming Monday. Thank you.
Thank you to our students. I've been traveling for the past 3 weeks, and I got sent some wonderful San Marin photos about homecoming from my daughter. So I want to say how wonderful everybody looked, and it seemed like it was an incredible experience, and I'm very hopeful that the upcoming Novato High homecoming is similarly resplendent, but nothing else to report right now. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Nothing to report, but so many fun things happening. Great job.
Yeah, I was able to get to San Marin's Rube Goldberg night, which is one of the things I try not to miss. It's a good example of project-based learning, great turnout, and most of the ones that I watched of their projects worked, actually, so it was nice. Sometimes that doesn't always happen. I had 3 countywide committees that I had to attend, which is the E2 Committee, Efficiency and Effectiveness Committee. We got a presentation on the Marin County Middle School Sports Program that Marin County Office of Education is trying to pull together, and they're doing an amazing job of getting that up and running, and I think eventually a report will come to this board at some point. So that is a huge undertaking for them, and I appreciate that very much. So. Also, JLAC was last week. We got a wealth of information about a number of bills that were sitting on the governor's desk, and I think most of those were probably signed, I think, the ones that we reviewed, and also the Golden Bell Committee. That's it.
So I have found that my favorite thing now is to just do school events, and with everything else going on in my life, I love it when I have the opportunity to attend any of the various things at the different schools. And so I've got quite a range of events that I was able to attend or site visits, and so it was really exciting. And just want to mention the Divine Wine. I know how much work goes into that. That was super fun, and I was really grateful for the weather. As I see Empower Tomorrow shirts too, I was there and so pleased that the weather was nice. I thought it was going to rain. It was an amazing time. I got there to help, and the only thing, everything was done and so well organized. I just moved chairs, so wasn't much help, but it was a lot of fun seeing the kids get excited and all the cool booths that were set up. And seeing our electric vehicles too. That was really fun. Also attended North Marin Council PTA. Love meeting with all the PTAs and hearing what's going on at the school sites. Hamilton visit was fun. I don't get over to Hamilton very often, so that was really special. And then as Trustee Butler mentioned, we had a JLAC meeting, and I'm really excited about this year moving forward. We have Lisa Miller from Marin County Office of Ed working with us, and she's just really jumping in. Do miss Ken, but we're kind of changing things up a little bit to just really reach out and have our voices heard and see what we can do in terms of the attention that we need for our schools in really challenging times. So that was great. I also on the side was helping with sewing for White Christmas over at San Marin High School, so that production is coming up soon and should be super fun. And then tomorrow I'm hoping to see some of you guys at Marin County School Board. It'll be nice to meet with other trustees and superintendents. I think it'll be a really good time.
Just 2 things. I did the NCS Board of Managers meeting last Friday. What kind of harmonious meeting of 250 coaches and athletic directors. You can imagine how much they agree on things. Yes. But anyway, but it's productive. And then the other thing is a Marin County School Board Association Executive Committee meeting where we talked about training for new trustees, really for any trustees, parcel tax readiness ideas, as well as negotiation, collaboration, and then special education. So basically, those seem to be the hot topics amongst us MCSBA exec folks thinking that might be useful to the other school board folks. And we'll be there tomorrow at the MCSBA breakfast meeting tomorrow.
Good evening. I also attended JLAC last week. I also attended the Divine Wine and Food Festival, and it's a benefit that supports our MSA students. My favorite part was seeing the student performances. I also attended the College of Marin Centennial Showcase at IVC. I got a chance to see Daniel and Dr. Sinyard, so it was really nice to support College of Marin just because we have a great relationship since we hosted Empower the day before. And congratulations to Jonathan for being nominated to be part of the homecoming court. So look forward to, fingers crossed, cheering you on. So thank you.
I participated in the tech committee. That is a group of teachers and parents that are looking at how technology is used in the district. Workforce housing communications subcommittee, and I had the pleasure of attending Empower Tomorrow. And just to piggyback on what was spoken about that previously, it's an event where our middle school students, 8th graders specifically, are brought in to learn about career pathways, programs at our schools, and dual enrollment with our college, our community college. And it's really a great event, and I think it's a great time to have our students be aware of all the opportunities they have in front of them. And then I also just wanted to give a thanks for this beautiful art that we have here. We have a rotation now of art coming from different schools, and it's really, really lovely to have our room decorated in that manner. Thank you.
Sure helps. The space. Okay, last meeting, we had a couple of public comments that I wanted to follow up on. We had some questions and concerns about a pride flag being raised at San Marin and then taken down. There was some confusion, and just wanted to note that we'll be bringing our policy back up for the board discussion in the near future. And then we also heard from a parent new to our district who's encouraging more useful content to our website, especially around the special education services. And so our special ed team is taking this seriously and especially focused on creating and updating a handbook that we think will be helpful to parents. Let's see, I visited classrooms at San Ramon and Hamilton. That was so lovely. We're doing listening sessions and budget roadshows. So Josh, Julie, and I spent a lot of time together. Most district staff participated in some sort of professional learning yesterday. And I think it actually stayed at the sites this year, and the principals, thank you very much, led the work and the learning. And I think it was a nice change from other things we've done in the past. So shout out to all our leads who made that possible. So thank you. And then a shout out to Daniel, College of Marin, our middle school principals, the Rotary of Ignacio, and so many people, Lindsay, Julie, who helped make Empower Tomorrow an event that was well worth attending for our students to participate. I always think, gosh, do they really even know how lucky they are? And I don't think they're quite understand it quite yet, but maybe one day, right? And then the Divine Wine was spectacular out at Jonas Center. Shout out to Allie, Michelle, Shannon, and all the parents who put that event together. And the students. Oh my gosh. They worked their tails off. Like, what time? You got there like 8 a.m. and then maybe finished cleaning up by 10 p.m. Like, it was, and they performed, and they had to deal with all of us. So they were fantastic. And then this Saturday, I get to go to the STEM fundraiser. That's this weekend for San Marin. We have a board study session, don't forget, Saturday morning. And thank you for putting that on your calendars. I think it's important work. Excited to be in the Novato Homecoming Parade. I think I get to be on the truck with Buzz. Yes. And it's crazy. There's so much going on Saturday, but there's also the Family History Day in downtown Novato this Saturday.
Okay, our first presentation this evening will be Rotary of Ignacio donation.
Good evening, members of the board, directors, and Superintendent Smith. I brought with us a collection of people, and I wanted to say, please stand up, everyone. Could you please come up here? Please come up. Okay, my name is Charlie Vogt, by the way. I'm the president of the club. This is a one-year position, so it started in July of this year. So I'm, 3 months in? That's about it. But at this point, I just wanted to tell you that one of the processes we do as a club is we look at programs and projects we can do for the year. And we approached Tracy about the possibility, was there something in the school that hadn't been funded that was really of importance to not only the superintendent, but the board and the members of the staff that they would like to do, but didn't necessarily have the capability to do so financially. And so we put together a program of work of about $114,000 worth of projects. We had to cut it down to 50 because we didn't have as much money as we expected this year. But that wasn't enough to look at the priorities that the superintendent gave us. She gave us 8 priorities, and roughly about $14,500 worth. And we said, we'd love to do this within our foundation, but we really don't have the funds. So we're going to have a huge fundraiser. It was called Burgers, Brews, and Comedy. It's now called Barbecue, Brews, and Comedy. That was held September 20th. And we raised, Jean is our co-chair. Jean, come over here. Jean Fidel. Jean, tell them how much you were able to raise total for our fundraiser this year.
For Fund a Need or in total?
In total.
For the whole event, $79,000.
$79,000. That's a new record for us, okay? And a part of that is we go around after the auctions are done, the live and the silent, and we tell people we have a need, and we explain what it was. Daniel back here, who's a member of our club as well, he put together a short video, and we showed that video to an audience of 150 people. And then they put their paddles up, and we started taking collections from $2,500 downward.
5,000 started at
5,000 total. So the end result, and before I get into that, I just wanted to introduce, this is Daniel, and you all know Daniel. Daniel is the chair of our vocational group. Jennifer Goldfinger is our secretary. Peter Palin is our treasurer. And our president-elect coming up for next year, Doug Hood. And I want to thank you all, because we had our board meeting, our monthly board meeting today, and because of you, it was only 1 hour long. It usually goes a lot longer, right? Okay, everybody's happy. Okay, so drum roll. I'm going to ask these 3 kids here to drum. Give me a little drum. We would officially like to announce our contribution to the Novato Unified School District for the projects so presented by your wonderful superintendent, $17,200. Hey, could I get everyone to come?
Let's get a photo of everybody.
Okay, could we?
Yep,
Go
this
to
right
the
here,
right,
right
right
here.
here.
No, facing this way.
Facing this way?
Yes, please.
Okay, everybody hold on.
President-elect.
Okay.
Yeah, somebody come over on this side over here. There we go.
And you probably realize we've had a few pictures in the IGA, and we're really good at promoting good deeds.
It's a beautiful photo, let me say right now.
It's the shirts.
I think it's the check. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we did exceed the 14.5. That's all right.
Yes, yes. We might have to
And-
It's hard to get.
And you all see we're wearing Power tomorrow, and that's because the focus of your educational system is doing exactly what they need to do for vocational education. You're going to middle schools and starting that. So this last Friday, we had hundreds of kids there. It was great. Chick-fil-A is a sponsor as well. And since we have 3 students here who've gone beyond the call of duty to be here tonight, I thought I would give them each a Chick-fil-A gift card. Yes, thank you.
Charlie,
Yes.
we actually have 2 other students here.
Pardon me?
We have 2 other students here.
Oh, where? Oh, okay. Oh, my goodness, how could I forget that?
Thank you, so generous, thank you.
Very good, very good. And I'll tell you what, one thing we do as a Rotary Club, we try to partner with the business community, and I know you do that in many other ways, but if we can get the business community to come on board with projects like Empower Tomorrow, that's the way to go. And Chick-fil-A has been a great corporate citizen, and they've helped us quite a bit on a lot of different projects. So I just want to tell you, this is just one example. Believe me, all you have to do is ask a high school kid what's one of their favorite sandwiches, and what would you say? Chick-fil-A. Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Okay, our next presentation is from Hill Education Center.
Yeah.
Okay, hi, good evening. Thank you so much for having us, trustees, Superintendent Dr. Smith. I'm really excited to have 3 of our students, one you know, Jake, and then we have Luna and Violet, who are going to introduce themselves, and our wellness navigators, Sarah. And we're going to talk to you about multi-tiered systems of support and wellness and how that works on our Hill Education Center campus. We're focusing on Marin Oaks mostly, and then how social emotional supports work, even though it also helps support academic growth. And so, am I clicking over here? Okay. So what you see here is 2 things. The first is meditation. And meditation at Marin Oaks started, I want to say like 10 years ago, where we started to have students meditate the first 5 minutes of every day, just to get their day started, to be able to leave everything that might be external factors at the door and be able to just center themselves and get grounded for their school day. So we do that every single morning. And then we also have our daily check-in sheets, which Violet, I'm hoping we'll talk about a little bit today or this evening. But those were implemented just last year after we interviewed a series of students and asked them for their voice and what they wanted to see more of. And surprisingly, they asked for more support from adults. And so we were actually surprised, you want more of us? And they said yes. And so we created these daily check-in sheets, which Sarah can also talk about how she triages and getting the students the support that they need. But it's a really easy way for them each morning during the meditation, right before or during or right after, where they just check in how they're feeling a 1 to 5. If they're having a really tough day, they put a 1 and they automatically are going to get support that day. If they put a 5 and they just want to share how great they're feeling, they get to do that too. And it's a quick way for everyone to just have their voice heard throughout that day. And then some of the supports that we have, you all are familiar with our enrichment classes. We've had some of our presentations in the past. We have 4 days a week, some community members, and then some of our staff who lead these enrichment classes. And there are programs like gardening, music, meditation, sobriety, really powerful programs that allow students that enrichment. And then counseling services, where they're able to just get an opportunity to meet 1-to-1 with a counselor, either from Bay Area Community Resources or our own counselor as well in the Marin County Office of Ed. And the most important is our student voice. And it is in the fabric of who we are at Hill, where we really listen to our students. We like to hear what they have to say, and then we make changes as needed, in all regards, and especially in the category of wellness. And so for our wellness center, I have Sarah.
Hi, good evening, everybody. So the Wellness Center, really, I think of it mostly as a triage. Like the check-ins were mentioned, if we get any students that are putting down a 2 or a 1, we do our best to check in with them as soon as possible. A lot of the times those end up being it's just a break. Something may have happened earlier in the day, something may have happened in a class before, and they just need like a 10-minute reset. So that's generally what it is. Every once in a while, it gets to be something a little bit more, or something that I think isn't just today, but it may be lasting a bit longer. And in that case, I make sure that I've got them connected to one of the therapists that we have on campus. And that's really easy to do. We've got good relationships with everybody, so it's a daily check-in that we do. And what's really lovely about the check-ins is we don't only get, for a bit, I think I was a bit concerned that it would be taken advantage of, because you do get pulled out of class if you get a low number. I've only had one student do that once. We both laughed, and he hasn't done it again. So they do, it's quite useful. They do not have to fill one out if they don't want to. They don't have to. One of my goals last year it was my first year having a real wellness hub. And so one of my goals was to meet all of the students. This community can be, all teenage communities can be a little rough to get in with. And these check-ins really helped. So it was students that I didn't necessarily know. We didn't necessarily have a familiar relationship. And then being able to put down a number without having to look me in the face and tell me what's going on allowed me to at least meet them and give them just a comfortable area to calm down. And I ended up being able to meet, I think, every one of our students through this. So far this year, it says 27 visits, but I just looked today and we're up at 49 as of Friday. The daily check-in for last year, we had 203 check-ins. That just means that there was a low number and I had to triage something for it. And then Wellness Center last year, we had about 168 visits. So it looks like this year we're up a little bit, but I like that. I like that the kids can come in and take a little break. We do have 3 students here that are going to talk a little bit about their experience in wellness at Marin Oaks.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Violet. I'm a senior at Marin Oaks High School, and I would like to share my personal story on why I think that wellness is so important. Previous to this, I did go to a mainstream school for about a year, and I didn't have anything like wellness, and that's kind of why I don't even know. Okay. First thing, I would like to say that wellness is one of the biggest outlets that I personally have had in this school district. Being able to do a check-in every single morning and not have to talk to anyone or not have to have that anxious one-on-one with a teacher or you don't want to talk to that adult is really important. I would also like to say that many other students I've noticed that I wouldn't ever expect to go and reach out for help, started reaching out for help, started coming to school more. And I had been the one to bring up doing the daily check-ins because of that. Another one of the resources that I really do appreciate is the meditation group that she had previously mentioned. It really did help my poor attendance, and I'm kind of just really grateful for it, to be honest with you. I never really had anything like this previously, so I think it's a really good opportunity for a lot of students to get help that they didn't before. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good evening. I'm Luna, a junior at Marin Oaks, and I'm so glad to be sharing my story. Last year, navigating a big school felt overwhelming, and asking for help was really hard. But this year, as a new student at Marin Oaks, everything has changed for me. Being at a school with such a big focus on mental health has helped. Because on hard days, when I would normally go home sick with anxiety or not go to school at all, instead, I'm able to go into wellness center for a recharge and just get a break from everything. Not all students have mental health support outside of school, which is why I like that we focus on wellness at Marin Oaks and having somewhere where we can go for support. We need a safe space where we can open up without being judged, because sometimes our peers aren't always easy to talk to, and having a trusted adult feels more safe, and it relieves you, and it takes off all the pressure that you have in mind. There are kids like me who struggle to present at school, not just physically, but mentally too. This happens due to personal or family issues. It's hard to find success in life when you're stuck in a dark place. Our parents expect a high school diploma, but how can we achieve that if we don't even see a future for ourselves? It's a sad reality, which is why wellness is important. I'm really grateful for a safe and supportive environment where I can be myself. Thank you.
Good evening, trustees and Dr. Smith. My name is Jake. I am a junior from Marin Oaks High School. I like the wellness because when I'm not in a positive mood, I can go to Sarah to talk about my feelings. And Sarah is a great person to be around. She always understands how I'm going through whatever situation I'm in. And every time I always get advice from her, it always works out in my favor. And I really appreciate you. I also like I like wellness also because it helps students at our school campus express their emotions to adults that they can trust. I know a lot of students at home that I know I'm very good friends with can't really talk to their parents about the way they feel because they don't get that home support. That's why wellness, it helps students talk about their feelings and talk about with someone who can give them advice and help figure out their situation. I also like wellness because if you're hungry, you can get food from wellness. If you need to calm down, you can have some tea, or you need a little break from class, you need a little headspace, you can just take a little break and then go back to class and be reset. Thank you.
Okay, I think that concludes our presentation, and thank you. You all did a good job. Thank you for sharing. Thank you.
No, I'd just like to say, hey, I really, really appreciate you guys digging deep for that. I know that I could see the emotion and really appreciate not only that you're doing this, that you're sharing with us, because I know it's not the easiest thing, but at the same time, I'm really seeing how it's helped and the cognition that's going on. And I love that. And I only wish that there's a way we could scale this, right? Because really, every student needs something like this. And I gotta say, you guys are fortunate. You have a great, fantastic program doing this for you. And I'll tell you, this is something that's not just something for high school students. It goes all the way to adulthood. We all need to be better at, cognition, understanding what's going on in our heads, because quite often we don't. And the fact that you guys are getting a head start on that, I love it. And the fact that you're talking about it. I know that's not easy. So I really appreciate you did. Thanks.
It may be similar on those lines, but it's so powerful to hear your stories, and it speaks to what you talked about at the beginning around bringing student voice. I think we all up here are really supportive of wellness services, but then to hear you speak about the way that it has impacted you is oh, right, this is not just a system or a structure, but it's about people, and that's just such a powerful reminder. So I'm just really grateful to you three for coming and sharing that. And with a separate my teacher hat on, when I came to visit last year, you showed me the slips that you were using for your check-in slips, and I use them in my classroom, and they're wonderful. And it's a great example of how to work smarter, not harder, which I don't actually know if that applies because I know it still takes work to sift through and time, but it's such a small solution or partial solution to such a big problem. It's how do we figure out what all kids on our campus need? And it's a 5-minute piece of paper where there's a check-in that happens. It's just such a brilliant approach to supporting students. So kudos to all of you for that. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
I'm gonna follow that with something very boring. We're now gonna have no gavel. Hold please. Just kidding.
Hold please. Because I don't want you gabbling with this on the screen. Okay.
Was that it? Just to change that? Okay, great. Okay, so I am opening the hearing for the Williams Act Sufficiency of 25-26 instructional materials.
Exciting times.
Seeing no public comment, I will close the public hearing. Thank you. We will now come to non-agenda public comment, of which we have none. So we move to item 13A, staff report, expanded learning opportunities program update with Dr. Julie Sinyard.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Smith, student trustees. Good to see everybody tonight. Tonight, I am going to give a short update regarding our expanded learning opportunity program. And before I start, I want to thank our coordinator, Susie Hirschfeld, for all of her hard work, kind of really taking the lead on the ELOP program and making some really positive changes. And so kind of just a quick overview, what exactly is ELOP? Just a little review. Again, it's our state-funded program that extends the school day for our kiddos in TK through 6. It really tries to not mirror what is happening in the school day, but really provide opportunities for enrichment, emotional growth, and trying new things. The program was designed to remove barriers and provide engaging, high-quality learning experiences for students. And there are some stipulations and guidelines that go along with the program, including that our unduplicated students attend for free. And just a quick little reminder, our unduplicated students are our English learners, those that qualified for free and reduced lunch, and or foster youth. And we need to verify eligibility every year. We must operate the program with an additional 30 days beyond the school year. There are staff ratios for our TK and K grades, 1 adult to every 10 students, and in grades 1st through 6, 1 adult to 20 students. Attendance is not mandatory. It is a flexible attendance. We obviously want all students to come, but students may come for a little bit and then leave depending on family need. The current budget right now for the ELOP, California allocated about $4 billion for ELOP for all districts. Currently in our program, the YMCA is serving, their MOU will serve up to 420 students, and our current enrollment right now is 303 students. We are checking attendance right now to see if we are going to offer another attendance enrollment period in December. We obviously want to offer the opportunity to everyone. Right now we are at 303 and would just definitely love to extend that to more students should the need arise. The YMCA has been great to partner with, and they're really kind of trying to hone and revitalize their program. Right now we spend time dedicated to completing some homework, sports and recreation, the arts, and science and technology. The biggest change that we had for this school year was that we streamlined our program delivery and we're utilizing just one service provider. We thank the Boys and Girls Club of Marin and Sonoma for their service last year, but one of the things that was just a little bit challenging to work with numerous providers, and so the YMCA has really taken hold of the program. And we're running with it. The school year program, the last couple years we tried doing intersessions during the winter break and spring break, but unfortunately the enrollment wasn't significant, and so we have just decided to continue with summer school. The numbers just weren't warranted for the intersessions weeks. And again, the biggest thing is we are establishing enrollment periods, really trying to do a lot of recruitment, communication, and enroll during specific periods. We did a big push at the beginning of the school year. The YMCA, again, spearheaded this engagement and really pushed out, please join the program. Here's what it offers. So thank you to the YMCA for doing that. The biggest goals for this current school year are continuing to collaborate with the YMCA to strengthen the program. And one of the things that we have been doing is working in tandem too with San Rafael City Schools. Their ELOP program director, Mike Taylor, has been instrumental in kind of helping us streamline our program and expand it. And so really kind of partnering with San Rafael City Schools and just kind of seeing what other folks are doing. We are investigating how NUSD high school students can support students attending ELOP. So one of the things that we're looking at is additional tutoring opportunities. And again, kind of with the CTE lens on the career technical education lens, how can we provide potential internships for students who may be interested in careers in teaching or working for the YMCA themselves and kind of giving back to the program. And so kind of really trying to figure out how we can utilize support from our high school kiddos. Again, having more increased communication with our families, and continuing to increase our enrollment based on our MOU capacity. So we want to have these enrollment periods so that the YMCA has time to find staff to utilize in the program, to support the programs, and really make sure that we don't have any kind of waiting list, things along those lines. And so that has kind of been our big push this year. Let me go back a slide. And more than happy to talk about some of the other major things that we're looking at. We are kind of looking at high impact tutoring, and we are currently participating in an 8-week professional development that's been sponsored by Results for America. So we're kind of working to this to see if this program can help benefit our after school students, especially in the area of math. And again, that's where we're trying to steal some of the tutors from the high school level. And then also we're going to contract with Math Think Incorporated to continue who need support at Lou Sutton, and really helping us to bolster some of our math capabilities for our students. And that is the majority of the report right there. And can I answer any questions folks have about the ELOP program? Yes.
Thank you. Just a clarification question. In the memorandum we received, it also says that the district, we all have an MOU with North Marin Community Services to support ELOP eligible students. Is that still true?
Correct, yes. So we work with North Marin Community Services. They do support our students as well. So we have students who attend the program. They provide van service, they pick up the students, and then they support the students in that respect as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good report. And I'm expecting, I guess this will be an annual thing we'll do. Would be helpful if going forward, if we could, maybe any kind of charts, maybe that would display distribution of students by grade. That'd be helpful,
sure. No
as
problem.
well as by campus, just so we can kind of see where it's happening, where it's not. Anything
Sure.
along those lines you might add, of course. But those two things I think would be a start. The other question, and this is always, I brought this up when we were up at the state in Sacramento about the whole, what about 7th and 8th grade? Why does it stop at 6? Seems to be very, abrupt. But so I take it that right now we're pretty much stopping at 6th grade. And so those kids that were unduplicated up through 6th that are getting this support, they hit 7th and 8th. They're still in middle school. They don't get the support anymore.
They can. It can
They
be
gotta pay
offered
for
to
it.
them.
They
It can
pay
be
for
no.
it.
If they qualify, and we say we have done all of our efforts, we have extended opportunity. There is still space. The students who are unduplicated in 7th and 8th grade may still qualify.
Fantastic
Yes,
answer.
yes.
Thank you. Perfect. So basically, to the extent that we have money available that's not being used, we make it available.
Correct. And that's one of the challenge at middle school. That is where and the reason why it's TK through 6. There's a lot of elementary schools that are just till 6th grade.
I get it.
Yeah,
but-
and so that was the rationalization behind it. And then kind of what we've experienced is that a lot of the 7th and 8th graders do not wish to stay after school any longer, but it is absolutely available should they, when we offer this and there's still space, we absolutely want our 7th and 8th graders to attend.
Well, and of course, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up middle school sports, but yes. Do some of the ELOP funds go toward that?
Yes, and the enrichment in the sports facilities, not facilities, sports enrichment activities.
Okay.
And I know we are currently working to Soccer for Success, kind of looking in recognition of the FIFA World Cup coming up. We're partnering with Soccer for Success program. So absolutely looking at different sporting activities that kids can engage in.
Cool. Thank you.
So he sort of took my answer. Well, first I want to say thank you. I found this all really interesting and helpful. But one of the things I was actually wondering, because at the end it seemed like there was a focus to try to expand up to the capacity that the MOU is there any sites that seem to have full, and that there's other sites that are not taking the opportunity as much?
The elementary sites are pretty evenly distributed, so they are absolutely utilizing the sites. Linwood is a little bit different. Linwood has an ACES program after school, so Linwood's ELOP program is only TK through K. So there's some different shifts in that respect, but no, absolutely.
Okay. So it's okay. That's interesting. I was figuring maybe some of the schools were like almost at capacity or whatever, and so that's actually interesting in itself if it's evenly distributed.
Yep. And then again, when we do the December push, again, we can see if we need to, what else we need to increase. So.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Sure.
The 30 non-school days, is that strictly going to be summer now?
Correct.
You're going to try to get those all into like a month?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And we'll be bringing forward another MOU because we did not do that summer extension yet. So you
Right.
guys will be seeing the summer MOU with the YMCA.
And then, oh shoot, what was I going to ask? The YMCA, they take, for a fee though, students can
Correct,
attend
yes.
and
they
be
still-
a part of the programs that the unduplicated students they're all together, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely. Yep, they do fee-based as well.
All right.
Sorry, that makes me think, next year, if we could add to the report, just something that lets us know the degree to which non-unduplicated kids are participating in this. 'Cause
Absolutely.
it just we get a sense of demand.
Perfect.
I think that'd be helpful.
Will do. Great. Thank you.
Okay, next is item 13B. We have the budget update from Joshua Broff.
Tee up here.
Great job, Good evening, trustees. Tonight I'm going to present a budget update. This is the same slightly edited community budget update that we've been using with our PTAs and boosters as we're going around on our roadshow to each and every site's family support teams, we can call them, to talk about our budget. I've modified it slightly to take out the learning things, as the board already understands what an LCFF versus a basic aid district is. But this does have what our current budget constraints are, comparisons for other districts, our parcel tax, which is our local funding source. And I wanted to start by kind of talking about what the impetus for all this was. And we received, as part of our budget approval, our budget goes to the County of Marin, the Marin County Office of Education. They do their fiscal analysis, and then they come back with a letter. And that is a totally normal process. They do that every single time. What was unique about this one was that there was a concern about our ending fund balance, and the ending fund balance, both at the end of this year and in future years, and how it wasn't hitting what the board's required reserve is. And we needed to come up with a budget stabilization plan. And this is one of those steps, is communication, transparency is part of that plan. We have to start with actually identifying what the problem is. And this problem is twofold. We have a $11 million deficit this year that was not planned to be $11 million. We're going to go into the revenue side, but what we're not really talking about on this is the expenses side. And when I get to the end of piece, I want to talk a little bit about those expenses that have come out of nowhere and were unplanned as well. So Novato Unified School District has about $130 million budget. Usually we talk about the expenses, so we'll say it's a $130 million budget. But we get around $20 million in. So there's problem number one. How does the money come into the district? We have about 85% coming in as state. So that is the LCFF funds and the state programming, ELOP being one of those that we just heard a presentation about. Federal is 6.3%, and then local is around 11-12%. Local is our parcel tax, the largest single portion of that at $4 million. And then we also have local grants. We also had a presentation on that, the presentation of the check from Rotary goes into those local funds. How the money leaves the district, in other words, how do we spend that money? 80% or more is spent on staffing, and that's district staffing. So the teachers, principals, all employees at the school and the district office. This is specifically about Fund 01. So just to clarify, the only group that's left out of this is food services, and that's because food services is in Fund 13. They are insular. So this is everyone else in our entire district other than food services. And that's true of everything on here. So when we talk about books and supplies, not talking about food services. Okay, they are their own insular fund. This is all Fund 01, our general fund. Also doesn't include bond, things like that. So book supplies, utilities, maintenance, operations, insurance, the lights, camera action, everything that makes this district run is about 20% of our budget. And then the 2.5% of other is going to be those one-time asset purchases that we may have. Examples of that can be a maintenance and operations van that needs to be replaced, a bus and transportation that needs to be replaced. We're not buying a new one every year, and it's on an ongoing cost, but most likely in a district our size, we're going to have about 2.5% of asset purchases each year. So the LCFF, as we know, is ADA times a dollar amount. That dollar amount is set by the state budget each and every year. And normally, other than in 2008, every year has had a COLA, a cost of living adjustment. That cost of living adjustment raises that dollar amount each year. So we expect it to go up. In fiscal year 23-24, that was when I took this position. The column on the left, labeled fiscal year 23-24, were the projected and current COLAs. We came in with a 6.56, the historical high, until the 8.22 of the year later. And we saw that it was going to be 3.94, 3.29, so on and so forth as time went on. Fast forward 2 years. We are now in 25-26. The 6.56 was already implemented. The 8.22 was implemented as we came in. What happened? Well, now it's 1.07 in 24-25, and then 2.3 instead of 3.29, and 3.02 instead of 3.19. And those don't look like really big variances, but the problem is that we have a $120 million budget. These are percentages off of $90 million, which is the LCFF portion of that budget. And out of $90 million, 1% is $900,000. Right? So it's basically almost $1 million for every 1%. So what did that mean? Well, in 23-24, we made decisions on the future based on these numbers. Who gives us these numbers? The Department of Revenue, a state organization that advises the governor. They tell us, hey, these are what we believe the COLA is going to be. So we put those into our budget, and then we make decisions, and we operate, and then it changes, and then it changes again. So the question might be, well, why did you go with the numbers if they always go down? They don't. That 6.56 was originally supposed to be 2%, and that 8.22 was supposed to be 3%, and they became numbers that high. So going off of just that short time, we probably would have increased the numbers. We didn't. We held them with what the state said, and then they were less. Now, how does that work? They basically go back and they retro. Now, nobody took the money from us. That's not what I'm saying. These are projections. But they became less than what were projected. And that's because these numbers are a federal number. They're based off of federal pieces. But the state is allowed to budget for the current year and the previous 2 years. They go back and they adjust based on what the reality was and where it should have been. And 8.22 was deemed too high. That's not what the actual number was. The actual number was less. So they take it from future years. And so now it becomes 1.07 and 2.3. And on the chart on the right-hand side, the red is where we were projected to be 2 years ago. The purple is where we are now. And that's if everything holds stable. And those those lines don't look too far apart. Those lines are $3.75 million apart. $3.75 million per year, every year, ongoing into the future is what this district no longer has to work with that we were working with 2 years ago. So a lot of decisions that were made over the last 3 years were basically torn up because of this. But the other side of that equation, right? We just said that LCFF is ADA multiplied by dollar amount. We just discussed dollar amount. So what is ADA? ADA is the average daily attendance. That is enrollment minus when kids are absent from school. So ADA is specifically, we like to refer to it as butts and seats. That's the kids coming to school, showing up every day. We had a projected enrollment of 7,300, but after some changes with the federal administration and the way that they view immigration, we saw a big drop through the second half. Basically right after January, we started seeing a drop. And then we had still students confirmed to come to school this year, and about 150 of them didn't show up. Now, that is not a drop of 150 from last year. It's a drop of about 80 from last year. We're talking again about projected. We were projecting growth because we were seeing growth. Our TK class was getting bigger. Kids were confirming, their families were confirming that they were coming back, and then they didn't. And so we know that a portion of that is due to immigration practices, but that's not the whole story. We're still investigating where that actually lands, but it can't not be said that that did have an effect on us and have an effect on our funding of families leaving the area. So what did that do to us? Well, we started at $92.38 million for this year in LCFF funding, and $92.38 million already took into account that loss of $3.7 million. That was already there because the dollar amount was set in June. But the student amount wasn't until July 1st, after the budget was passed. At that loss of 150 students, we're now at $90,593,000. That's a loss of $1.788 million. So this year, we're operating at $5.4 million less than we thought we were going to be operating at 2 years ago. So our budget is $5.4 million worse than what we were projecting. That also has some extra pieces. Right now, we're just talking about LCFF, but the LCAP supplemental, the unrestricted and restricted lottery dollars, the mandated block grant, and ELOP are all based on ADA. So those are other funds that we're not even talking about here that are being reduced because of ADA being lower. We've talked about the state changes. I do want to shout out the state and say that they seem like they are trying to put more money into schools, but that is a large portion of that is special education dollars, which get a COLA every year. A large portion of that is ELOP. It's up to $2.5 million, almost $3 million, $4 million, my goodness. So those are restricted programs. I can't use them on operations. I can only use those on the things that they are designed for. So while it's fantastic that we went from $8.3 million before COVID to $15 million now, it doesn't solve the budget problem because it's not allowed to be used throughout the system. It has to be used on specific programs. The federal dollars, they've grown as well, but instead of doubling, they've gone up about 25 to 30%. Also great, but extremely restricted dollars. Where the state is mostly restricted, these are extremely restricted dollars, and that's before we know what the federal budget's going to even look like. This was somewhere where I wanted to talk about expenses, two things, the state and the federal level. At the state level, AB 218 was a removal of the statute of limitations for sexual assault and molestation cases. What that has done is that while our district has not had to face the legal ramifications of that, our insurance has. And so we got hit with a $550,000 ongoing bill to participate in the insurance that covers these types of cases. That was unprojected. That was unknown to us until the bills started showing up. And the option is we could not pay this bill, but then if we were to ever get one, and remember, this is going back 40 years, if we were to get one, some of these molestation cases are being settled for $60, $70, $80 million that we would have to pay out of pocket. On the federal level, we had and it's still being worked out, but Marin County Office of Education was getting a grant for mental health dollars. That got pulled. That was $400,000 added to our budget because this got pulled after the layoff notice date of last year. So we had to carry those positions, not saying that we didn't want to, but we no longer had the funding for these positions going into this year. Now we're still working with Marin County Office of Ed, and they're taking legal action, from what I understand, to try to get this money back because it was guaranteed and then it was pulled back. But until then, we're operating at a loss of $400,000. That's $1 million added to our budget this year that was not planned for. And that's on the expense side. So let's look at the funding of other districts, because we get the question a lot, well, if I look at TAM, if I look at San Rafael, if I look at blank, they get to do this. Why can't Novato? Why can't Novato do that? Why can't we hit this target marker that's important to me as a staff member, as a parent, whatnot? And this list is the amount of funding per student. This only includes Fund 01. This is only general fund, but includes everything: LCFF dollars or basic aid dollars, your state and federal funding, and your local parcel tax dollars, and all grants that you might receive. And then this is divided out by your ADA. How many students do you have, right? Now, yes, all the way on the right-hand side are very tiny districts and probably aren't good for conversation because they skew the numbers when we're talking about Ballina Stinson at $63,000 per student. All of this information is available on eddata.org, so you can also go verify it if you want to. Eddata.org, that's where I pulled this all from. But as we get further out to the left, we can look at like a district like San Rafael. San Rafael is a district that's very comparable to us. They're very close to us. They have a very similar population. They have about 200 less students than us. They are two districts in one, so I've combined them on here, but they are an elementary and a high school district. They serve TK through 12th grade, and they receive $22,000 per student. Novato receives $17,600 per student. When you multiply that out by 7,000 students, we're talking about a difference of around $22 million per year. So why can't we do what some other districts are doing? Because we don't get $22 extra million a year. That's one of the main reasons why. And I always try when I display this, I do not want to vilify any of these districts. That is not the point. Most of these districts are basic aid districts. That is the system that the LCFF basically set up. So when LCFF came about in 2013, that included this idea of basic aid districts. These are just in residential areas that have a population that pays a higher level of property tax versus their amount of students. They have fundraising arms that make more money. I'm not vilifying any of these districts or saying anyone is doing anything wrong. It's just the reality of the funding model that we live in. And unless we can change anything at the state level, which remember that 90% of the districts in California are just like us, that are way down there at that $17,000 level. Of the 10% of districts that are basic aid, 90% of those are in the North Bay area: Marin, Napa, and Sonoma. But there's another side of this, because there is something that we can deal with, and that's the local portion of this. So this is just talking about total, right? But let's talk about the local, and that's our parcel tax. So on this chart here, we're talking about a parcel tax. And Novato Unified School District has a parcel tax of $251. The only one lower than us is Shoreline. But if we go back to here, Shoreline is funded at $44,000 per student, so we won't bring them into the conversation right now. So starting at Novato, we are the lowest funded. We also have the lowest parcel tax for members of the public to pay. That's what this chart is showing you. Because if you live in the Miller Creek Elementary School District, Miller Creek has a $578 parcel tax. But the residents have to pay the Miller Creek and the San Rafael High School District, which means that those residents pay $839. If you live in Kentfield, good for you, but you're also paying $2,386 in parcel tax every single year. That is a huge difference when our district is paying $251, all of the residents. So if we even doubled it, we would still be the lowest on this list. We would still be the lowest on this list if we doubled our parcel tax, which is showing a gigantic gap that we need to fill. NUSD receives about $4 million, a little over $4 million in parcel tax. It's been the same number, $251, since 2009. What else has been the same price since 2009? Nothing. So what does that mean? The programs that the parcel tax was designed to cover, the parcel tax now covers about 17% of those programs. So let that part sink in, right? We care about these programs. We want to fund these programs. The residents of Novato say, I want to fund these and I'm going to pay for them. And it only covers 17% of that. So I think that there's a lot left on the table here for us to do. That's the end of the presentation. This is just a staff report, so of course I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Josh. I always appreciate it, how you present things, and then I'll start writing a question, and then you answer it. So, but there were a few that as you were talking, kind of just then expanded my head and the way I was thinking. And one of the things that I have on here, when you were talking about state funding, it made the awareness, because you mentioned about restricted, even though the amount went from 8 million to 15. Not only is it restricted, but it's temporary. And I think that's another important piece, is that when we get the LCF dollars, it's something that's based on anything from Prop 98's, the guarantee, but all these other things, like it could change. When we did the presentation, I was wondering, how long are we going to continue, or what's the amount that we're going to get in ELOP? And so just that kind of thinking, I was like, okay, there's like an added layer onto it as well, that you just can't count on things, which I'm finding is super frustrating in general. Like, you can't count on the COLA, you can't, so it's a job that's difficult, compounded by all these things that you just can't rely on. The other thing I was actually curious about, and I made a note to myself, and maybe one of the other trustees have seen something on it. I thought there was something sent out recently because of the complexities around that 40-year, whatever that, the molestation case. I think there's now an awareness of how challenging that is. Is there some kind of change in legislature?
It was moved to next year. The legislature didn't pass, but they also didn't vote no on it. They I don't know what they call it. They kind of, they deferred it to next year.
Okay, because I remember I'm struggling to actually, just so y'all know, I'm creating like a chart with all these different things of the different bills and the status, just because I can't keep everything straight. There's so many things I think are important. I know housing is also an issue. So thank you on that. My other comment was going to be to the trustees. Through JLAC, if you guys saw the policy analysis of California, PACE and Bellwether report that came out, it had a discussion about the schools with the better funding, basic aid funding. I'm sorry, I think I'm just really tired and having a hard time transferring from my work to here. Anyway, I just thought that was super interesting. Just because of that, it's coming to a point where it's just like you said, there's so few that are at that level, but there's so many of us that are struggling. And I often go out and while we're not doing great, we're doing better than so many other school districts, which is even more depressing to me. So anyway, thank you.
I can get a little rhetorical here, because everybody's going to agree with everything I say, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it because I think it needs to be said for the recording and for anybody who's listening. So I think it's absolutely ridiculous that the largest school district in this county has a parcel tax that's less than half the next closest district. And for the majority of the districts, it is roughly 10% of the rest of this county. Now, take away all the funding issues, all the funding disparities that you documented so well, and thank you so much. That's a problem in itself. But now we're just looking at a parcel tax. And I would challenge anybody to tell me why this district should be funded or is so less deserving of a parcel tax relative to the rest of the districts in this county. Why? I just don't get why anybody other than self-interest and saying, yeah, my taxes are too high. Okay, great. Shoot yourself in the foot. You're about to see your district kill your property values. This is property values, folks. You want your property values to stay up, put some money in. I'm sorry I'm being a little caustic, but I am tired of seeing this. And anybody's out there, please come talk to us. We want to hear why you think that this is legitimate. Thanks. And good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Nope. Sorry.
No, just this was really helpful, and you have brought a number of these pieces before us in recent meetings, and it's just helpful to see it all organized in this way. I think it really helps kind of lay out where the challenges are. It's like, why are we having all these budget issues all of a sudden? Well, it's like, here is how it's documented. So it's really helpful. If we have community members who want to hear it again or have questions, the roadshow, is that something they can come to? Or what's a great way for people in our community who want to learn more, who want to ask questions about this? Where can they go?
Yeah, definitely. So we were going to have a budget advisory committee meeting. So we already have the budget advisory committee, and we do those regularly. I think because people didn't know that this was coming up, it was very underattended. There were 3 people that attended, and 2 of them were board members. So that is the best place to come. So we canceled the next one because we figured people are going to want to come to it. So I shouldn't say we canceled it. We changed the date to move it back a little bit to give people time, because we figured they're going to want to come to the website, find out when it is. If you go to the business page on the NUSD website, the dates are listed there, so you can come and see when the next budget advisory committee meeting is. That's where we talk about this presentation sort of started there, and that's where we then mold the conversation.
Can I think? Yep.
Additionally, we're going to be taking this recording from tonight and shortening it and posting it on the website so that people can be referred to there, along with our budget update FAQ.
Great.
Cut my comments.
And just the last thing that I would say is, like, it's a very apropos juxtaposition when we hear from our students about how powerful programs are like wellness, and how when we talk about academic success, we're really talking about like whole child success and like helping our kids thrive. And these programs which rely on this funding, it's these wellness programs. I mean, it's everything. But like, this was just such a really kind of heart-wrenching juxtaposition to see, where we were like, this is what this money does, and this is how it impacts the lives of these kids. So that's where we are. But anyway, thank you for this, Josh.
Of course.
Actually, I appreciate that. I think you summed it up really well. And that's, I think, our frustration frequently, is that we start doing all these really great things, and then we get the rug pulled out from under us. And it's sort of like, well, why weren't you successful? Well, we were trying, and it changed. But I actually wanted to just point out, and I apologize if I missed this, but I think there's also the opportunities to hear during school PTA meetings as well. So, I've been trying to do my best to get the word out and encourage people to attend. And even if it's not your school, if it's a date that works for you to go and hear. And I think it's helpful too when you're around other people, because then you can actually have conversations and discuss, because I think everyone gets a little bit of something different out of it, depending on what their comfort level or what they're more familiar with. And so I think that having those conversations are great too. So thank you for doing those.
Of course.
Sorry if I missed this. Did we post those dates like on social media?
I'm not sure.
Okay, I think we should.
Do we post our budget advisory committee meetings?
Oh, no, the roadshow.
Oh, the roadshow.
The roadshow date, so that way people know, because that's one avenue of people getting their information. Like, come learn more about the budget and put, the schools and times, because I follow our page, and I think people are pretty active.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next item is 14A. This is the approval of resolution number 6, 2025-2026 Williams Act, sufficiency of 25-26 instructional materials, brought to us by Dr. Julie Sinyard.
Thank you. Tonight, I am bringing forth resolution number 6, the 2025-2026 Williams Act, sufficiency of instructional materials. The district has met the requirements of Ed Code 60119 in terms of holding a public hearing. Thank you. This evening. And we have posted the appropriate public notices on October 3rd, 2025 at the City of Novato main office, the Novato Unified School District office, and the Marin Free Library in Novato. And it was also posted on October 4th in the IJ. All schools have reported adequate instructional materials for their students, with the exception of Rancho Elementary. There is one item that we have on back order. It's for a kindergarten math expressions material. We are anticipating its arrival, but to ensure instruction is not impacted, all materials have been provided to support the start of the school year, so through copies and whatnot. So tonight I'm asking that the board approve this resolution.
Questions, comments, or a motion? And this is a roll call vote.
I'll move to approve.
Okay, we have Trustee Mack with a first, Trustee Lametta with a second. No comments. Trustee Alexander?
Aye.
Trustee Butler?
Aye.
Trustee Gasson?
Aye.
Trustee Jacobson, aye. Trustee Lametta?
Aye.
Trustee Mack?
Aye.
Trustee Pickus?
Aye.
Thank you. Next, we have 14B. This is the approval of resolution number 7, 2025-2026 to authorize signatures for the 26-27 California State Preschool Program continued funding application.
Great, thank you. I am asking the board to approve the resolution to authorize signatures for the 2026-2027 California State Preschool Program continued funding application. And this resolution is necessary for the board to enter into transaction with the California Department of Education for the purpose of providing childcare and development services to authorize designated personnel to sign contract documents for the 26-27 school year, the continuing funding application, and all related contract documents.
Comments, questions, or motion? Trustee Mack, thank you. Second by Trustee Alexander. No comments. This is also a roll call vote. Trustee Alexander?
Aye.
Trustee Butler?
Aye.
Trustee Gasson?
Aye.
Trustee Jacobson, aye. Trustee Lametta?
Aye.
Trustee Mack?
Aye.
Trustee Pickus?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up we have 14C. This is the approval of the schematic design, schedule, and cost estimate, and approval to utilize a leaseback contract for the mini gym renovation project at San Marin High School.
All right. Good evening, Board of Trustees, Dr. Smith, student board members. So tonight we're here to achieve schematic design approval for the mini gym at San Marin High School, and then also grant permission to bid for as a leaseback. We'll go over the general project information. I'll let you know kind of why we're doing this project, review the site location, some of the scope of work, and then as always, the cost estimate and the schedule, and we'll open it up for questions. So we're gonna remove the existing failing roof. There's multiple leaks throughout the building, as well as the siding. The siding appears to be leaking as well. To do that, we'll have to remove some of the acoustical ceiling tiles. We'll patch those. We'll install some new roofing and associated flashings, repair the dry rot in the roof sheeting. We'll install a new WUI, which is Wildland Urban Interface compliant windows. Louvers would also be part of that work. We would install new siding and repair the underlayment, and then replace some of the ceiling tiles. So this is just showing you where we are on campus, right next to the big gym, just kind of above the football field. So here's the original layout. That building originally was 4 separate classrooms. The interior walls have since been removed. There aren't not a lot of drawings available. There was a fire at DSA at one point, and so we have a few sets of drawings, but not really the entire set. So we had to open up, you can see down in the lower right-hand corner where it's clouded, we had to open up that section there to verify some of the framing. Here's some photos of that framing. This is the corner. We had to prove that it was 2x6 framing and that it was on 16-inch centers, and then also had to identify that there was structural hold downs that would attach the corner columns to the foundation. And then you could see in the photo on the right, just kind of a doubled up 2x6, and then we've pulled the insulation back there. This is a close-up of that. And you can see from the back side of that underlayment on the siding that there is some water intrusion there, and then even the 2x6 at the sill looks like it's wet. Here's the roof. You can see in the photo on the right that the roofing material is degrading, and there's some leaks in many locations there, even at that block where you see the bracing come in. And then here's some more roofing, kind of a larger view of all of that. A lot of the roofs, when you look at them, they're dirty, and so it's hard to tell whether they're in good condition or not. But as we go through and look at it, you can see that there's some material that are growing at the seams, and so that's a good sign of that roof failing. Here's those louvers that we're going to change out and make them WUI compliant, and that's just based off of some of the new fire rating rules. Evidence of some roof leaks. So all of these ceiling tiles will be removed and replaced. Looks like there's even some at that light fixture there. And then this is the siding. So we pulled off this T111 siding, and it was hung horizontally. Typically it's hung vertically, and so it's allowed water to get behind it, and you can see that then shield material that's actually delaminating. So we'll have to remove all of that, put in some plywood or OSB board, paper that, and then put in a new siding, and we're looking at a metal siding at this point. So here's my cost estimate. My estimate for the construction budget is about $1.4 million. I still am carrying some design contingency. Within that number is some ADA work so that we can upgrade ADA as required. We'll have a construction contingency for construction at $140,000. Architect fees, as well as an architect contingency and reimbursables. Hazmat consultation, we'll need hazmat consultant to check that to make sure to see if there is any asbestos or other hazardous materials. If there are, then there's money in there to be able to monitor that during construction while it's abated. CM fees, the DSA inspector, testing laboratory, because there will be some testing associated with this for structural, bid advertisements and DSA fees. We'll have to get a categorical exemption for CEQA, and then any legal and miscellaneous expenses. So that gets us to about $2,085,000. So our schedule, we're gonna go with the leaseback if we get approval tonight. We're in the middle of the design phase now. With approval, we would start advertising on or about the 20th. That'd be our first advertisement. Our second advertisement would be the following week. Have RFIs due the beginning of November. Receive our RFPs November 11th. Would score those, do our interviews, prepare the board item, and return to the 12-2 board. We would issue the contractor notice of award and then start the contractor pre-construction services. There will be some investigation that is needed for that. We may need to verify some of the foundation, and so we would need to excavate next to the building to make sure that our depths of that foundation are structurally sound. We would prepare that, but we would bid the project at the beginning of the year, prepare that board item, and then bring it back right around the end of March pending DSA approval. I did put on there a potential for delegation of authority, depending on when we get that, because we have in recent years kind of run that process between board meetings, or at least even into June before. So, and then we would do construction over summer of 26. Are there any questions?
I'm not sure if you know the answer to this, maybe someone in the room might know, but it kind of surprised me that the wall, it was first partitioned into 4 spaces. And as long as I've ever seen it, it's been just wide open. Does anybody know what it was originally designed for with such height to it and 4 separate rooms? This is where we need Ross.
Yeah.
Okay, just curious, because
yeah.
I mean, it is really tall, right?
Yeah.
And I can't imagine those 4 walls going that high. Well, maybe they did, but
Yeah,
I don't know why.
It doesn't make sense, because even if you had a 10-foot ceiling, maybe that building would be 12, 14 feet, but it's over 20 feet. So
yeah, okay,
not
all
really
right,
sure.
And then and we have the principal here, so maybe he can allude to it, but maybe you know the answer. Current usage, what do we use it for today?
I know it's used as a wrestling room. The mats are down there.
And what, cheer maybe sometimes? No? Is it okay to speak? Yeah.
Good evening. I'll say, answer your question. What is it used for? What can it be used for?
Sure.
It's used for everything and can be used for everything and more. Specifically, physical education classrooms, training spaces for our wrestling program and our cheerleading programs. Different than Novato High School, we don't have a second gym, so this is like our mini structure second gym. In addition to PE classes and practices, it's also a training space. We've held wrestling meets there. It's a community gathering space. Really, the possibilities are endless, and it sits perfect to all of our athletic fields and our PE classrooms.
Right. And no basketball, though, right? It's not big enough?
It's not really designed for basketball, just in terms of it's a square box.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you, John. I appreciate your experience here with us and everything. It's so helpful. And actually, you answered one of my questions right off the bat, because I saw your specific mention of the WUI windows, and I've been doing all this wildlife interface stuff, and I was going to ask about the siding. So I thought maybe you were doing hardy board, but metal, whatever.
So the reason why we're going metal instead of a hardy board is weight.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so we're concerned that if we increase that weight by over 10%, then it's going to trigger some structural upgrades.
Well, and it makes more sense. I mean, I would think it's just more sustainable. I don't know. Anyway, that was one of my questions. And I actually have other questions in different pockets in different ways. So that was one, but and this kind of speaks to what Trustee Mack and I seem to be on the same wavelength. If I take a step back, I totally agree we need to fix the space. But I started I was thinking, taking a step back because of my familiarity with the challenges of space at the campus. And so sometimes, when I'm in helping with the productions in the performing arts space, that there's such a lack of classroom space. And so I was curious, is there, however we go forward, are we establishing a space that's functional for, and this doesn't necessarily go to you, but just for conversation, making sure that whatever we're doing is on a path for a certain thing, and just knowing what our focus or our intent is behind that. And again, going to, if we're already short on space, getting the most use out of that. So my question then leads to what the revisions are, and I don't know, it seems like it's in such awful shape. Is there even HVAC in there, or is it just an empty?
There's an existing HVAC unit that still has some life left to it, so it's not one of the ones that we've replaced.
Okay. But so it would be, we could.
At some point it will need to be replaced, and we'll have to go with a ground mount unit similar to some of the other buildings.
I wanted to know, at least if we're doing this, are we covering all of our bases? So if there's something that will work. The other piece for me is, I know about all the water damage, and looking at that, it's looking pretty gnarly. And so at what point do we determine how much, once you start peeling stuff off, deciding how much damage there is in there, in the walls?
Yeah, so obviously we only opened up a couple sections, that one section on the outside. There are a couple other sections where it's kind of bowing out there, so we believe that it's the same condition. What we looked at, the studs look like they're okay, like they're in good shape, so that they can be reused. There may be a couple areas when we open it up that we'll have to either sister on another member, but I don't anticipate there to be a whole ton of dry rot underneath that underlayment. So that whole underlayment is going to have to come off.
Okay, yeah, when I was looking at it, it just looked pretty bad. I mean, clearly it's been a while, and again, I'm familiar with the situation and the water damage and stuff that's been going on. So my last question is, what is the interim solution to mitigate continued leakage or in that space? Are we like
to get us through winter?
Yes.
I think, well, maybe I'll let you guys speak to that.
I mean, I know the space is being used and
I mean, the space is still usable except for when it's actually raining, which does make it a funny way to say it. But the fact is that like if teams are putting mats down in there, there is no way for us to prevent them from getting water damage. The space is not watertight, leading to why we need to do this. So we basically implemented last year that when it rains, it's locked out. You can't go in there. We still try to mitigate as much as we can, but we've just been absolutely unsuccessful because it feels like every leak is 15 leaks. So there's not really a way to like redo the roof. You can patch, but it doesn't seem to solve anything. So we've really just been like, well, when it's raining, we can't go in there because it's not safe. It's slippery, it's wet, tiles fall, all that kind of stuff.
So given what I saw on the roof, and I have to admit I haven't been out to see the actual space, but it's not tarpable because it's kind of like a sunken roof, right? It's not like a...
Well, even that is really unsafe because like what we had at Hill, when the winds kick up, it rips everything off. Okay. And so, yeah, like putting a tarp up there, that's the first thing JC and I have talked about 100 times. We're always like, can we just put a tarp up there? And John every time is like, no, we've told you already. It's going to rip the roof off with it. Right. So the wind is the problem. And the way San Marin sits, sort of like down the slope, wind.
Graduations and stuff, I'm well aware of the darn wind and holding stuff up. So I guess then my request to you, given that you know that I have a lot of information on this, would be that we just make sure that that room is vacant of all equipment. And if people want to use it, then fine. But I don't want to have it being storing equipment because the rain has already started. Yeah. So I'm asking that as a request because I would like to avoid any issues with damaged things, and I appreciate that it's being closed.
We'll continue communication with the groups that use it, of course.
Student trustee Walker has something to add.
I just want to say thank you for even considering this as a San Marin student and somebody who did have to evacuate during the rainy seasons. As someone who was, I was taking yoga last year, and I saw from the board, I saw pictures of what the mini gym looked like. And then having to be told that we were no longer allowed in there for safety. I'm very thankful that this is even a consideration. I know that there are many decisions that have to go behind this, and many things that Trustee Gasson brought up, and I'm guessing others have. I just want to say thank you for this, because this is clearly a big issue for our school and the safety of our students. So thank you all.
Yes.
One thing I didn't ask, funding for this, is it coming out of the Measure G stuff or?
Yeah, so this was part of the priority list that we brought as the 5-year deferred maintenance plan. This is higher than we originally projected, but the good news is that we were significantly under in our Sinaloa HVAC and roofing project. So this is a little bit better than a wash.
No, I get that, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
This difference here, it's not changing anything about the bottom line, so that's great news for the funding.
And it'll probably come in under anyway, like everything else does.
John does a great job.
John's very conservative,
yes.
And we appreciate that.
Okay, if no other questions or comments, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve this item. Trustee Mack, thank you. Second. Trustee Pickus, thank you. All in favor? 7+3 student trustees, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, I would like to see all of you again at our next meetings. We have a special meeting on October 18th, and our next regular meeting is October 28th. And again, would like to recognize that we are closing the meeting in memory of Mark Milberg. Thank you.